All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, when Pat Riley became the head coach and team president of the Miami Heat back in 1995, he inherited himself a lump of clay that was just very, very raw. Okay. The Heat came to into the NBA back in 1988, and to that point, when Riley took over, they had really done little to nothing. All right, but that would quickly change. Okay, on Riley's watch, as a bevy of moves had the Heat playoff bound in 1996 for just the third time in franchise history, and by 1997, Miami had reached the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time. Now, Riley was the head coach when the Heat won the NBA championship back in 2006. And then he was also calling the shots in the front office when Miami went back to back in 2012 and 2013 with their big three of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. And then, of course, since that big three, the Heat have still gotten to the NBA Finals twice. But since going 53 and 29 back in 2022, the Heat have been keeping it together with spit and glue. Now, yes, the Heat are still playoff contenders, but they have to keep going at it via a wing and a prayer in the play-in tournament. And Miami's luck in the play-in finally ran out a couple of weeks ago, courtesy of the Charlotte Hornets. Now, in recent years, the Heat have been good enough to make the play-in, but they haven't been viewed as a title contender, which has led some people to say that Pat Riley should step down and allow someone else to run this franchise, which is easier said than done. You think about Riley's recent comments during his end of the season press conference, where he's basically said, "Hey, I'm not going anywhere. I still like my job. I still want to do my job. I'm still effective. I still want to help this team win." All of the adjectives that you could think about as far as Riley staying, he basically said. And at the end of the day, I don't see Heat team owner Mickey Arison showing Riley the door in Miami or forcing him to step down unless something drastic were to happen, or if Arison feels that Riley can no longer get it done. And at this point in time, I don't see that being the situation. Now, Arison owes a lot to Pat Riley, okay? Because Pat Riley literally built this franchise from the ground up. And when you think about the Miami Heat, you think about Pat Riley because he's been there so long, and they've won. Okay, they've won three championships uh, on his watch, and during that time, since Riley got there in 1995, I think only the Spurs, not in any exact order, and don't quote me on this, but I do feel just off the top of my head, I think it's the Spurs, the Lakers, and I'm not. I don't think I'm. I think like definitely the Spurs and the Lakers have won more championships than the Heat's three since Riley took over. If I'm and and of course the Golden State Warriors. How can I forget? But nonetheless, the Heat have been a successful franchise. All right, now with all of that said, is Pat Riley too stubborn for today's NBA? One might say that. Okay, there's definitely a generational divide between Pat Riley's way and some of the younger NBA players of this generation. It's one of those where Pat Riley is as old school as they come. And, when I say old school, he coached the likes of Magic and Kareem, and, he chewed them out in practice. It was not uncommon for that to happen. And in his eyes, okay, he feels like if they could take it, these younger guys can take it as well. And of course, that is not always going to be the case. And then you ask yourself, is the Heat culture still a thing? And is it for everyone? Well, some people say the Heat culture is done. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's not for everyone to go play in Miami. Yes, Miami is a very beautiful city. that a lot of players want to be in, but do they want to be a part of the Miami Heat? Because at the end of the day, if you go to Miami, you're going to work. Okay. And again, like I said, Eric Spoelstra is who is the Heat head coach, is an extension of Pat Riley. And you think about Pat Riley, he's a part of one of the greatest basketball lineages ever. Okay. Pat Riley played for Adolph Rupp at Kentucky. Adolph Rupp played for Fog Allen at Kansas. And then Fog Allen played for James Naismith. So Pat Riley is part of that equation. He's a part of that lineage. And for all of the fancy suits, the slick back hair that we've seen from Riles over the years, is a hard nosed defender. Yeah, you had the Showtime Lakers, but they played D. And you think about uh, what Pat Riley brought to the New York Knicks, what Pat Riley brought to the Miami Heat. What we saw from the Heat and the Knicks, respectively, is kind of more the Pat Riley type team and who Pat Riley truly is. And again, everybody's not built for that. I'm not saying that to knock anybody. And at the end of the day, winning's not easy. And if it wasn't, it wouldn't be called winning. So, like I said before, if you're going to go to Miami, you got to work. Okay. So, with that said, what can Pat Riley do over the summer to make the Miami Heat contenders in the Eastern Conference next season? I think first things first, what Miami has to do, they've got to find a way to stop relying on the play in to get to the postseason. Okay. They have to find a way to get into that top six. Okay. Because again, at some point, we knew that their luck was going to run out, and it happened this year. Okay. The Eastern Conference was top heavy because there's a lot of bad teams there. So even in spite of the fact that we saw Miami go 43 and 39, which in recent years probably would have gotten them the seventh or eighth spot in the East, they had to settle for the 10th slot. Okay. But nonetheless, if you're Miami, you've got to find a way to avoid the play in. And I think the best way that you can do it is to have your key guys available for games as much as possible. This past season, Bam Adebayo was the only Heat starter, okay, that appeared in at least 70 games. Okay, so it starts right there. Like I always say, your best ability is always your availability. One big question with the Heat going into the summer months is going to be whether or not we see Miami flirt with acquiring Giannis from the Milwaukee Bucks if the Bucks are indeed going to make him available. I'll say like this: I could see the possibility of the Heat and the Bucks talking, okay, over the summer about Giannis. I'm not sure if it's going to happen. Uh, Pat Riley, you look at the way that the Heat are constructed right now. They have a bunch of guys, but they don't have the guy. And of course, in today's NBA, you need the guy, at least one of the guys, to take you to that next step if you want to be legit championship contender. They don't have that right now. What would it cost Miami to get Giannis? Okay, what would they have to give up? And B, does Giannis fit in with the Miami Heat culture? That I think right there is the bigger question. The other thing for me, you look at some question marks on the current roster for the Heat. Tyler Harrell is going into the last year of his deal. Are we going to see Pat Riley and the Heat give him an extension? I think so, due to the Kentucky connection right there. Andrew Wiggins has a player option for next season. Will he exercise that, or will he look to go explore his options in free agency? Will the Heat re-sign Norman Powell? Norman Powell, in his first year with the Heat after being acquired from the Clippers, he did lead this team in scoring. But like I said, the Heat need their key pieces to be available. Norman Powell was only available for 58 games this past season. With all of that said, Miami is in the lottery for the first time. We have to, since 2019, and we have to see the way that the ping pong balls are going to bounce. But the last time that the Heat were in the draft lottery, they took Tyler Harrow back in 2019. So, like I said, there's an opportunity. There's going to be an opportunity there for the Heat to improve. The Eastern Conference has gotten better. And of course, we have to see what other moves that other Eastern Conference teams are looking to make over this summer themselves. But nonetheless, In regards to the Heat, I think first things first, they've got to find a way to get out of that top, to get into the top six at least, and get out of the play-in. And for all it's worth, they have guys, but they don't have the guy. And as long as the Heat don't have the guy, they're always going to be straddling that fence of possibly being in the top six or possibly being a play-in contender. But nonetheless, Pat Riley's not going anywhere. Okay, I know that there are some people who think that he should step down, but honestly, I think at this point, unless something drastic happens with the product that the Heat are putting out there on the court, I think Mickey Arison is going to give Pat Riley the opportunity to walk away when he feels that he wants to walk away. Some people might agree with what I said, some people might disagree. It's all good, but I feel I'm not saying he deserves it. I'm not saying that he doesn't. But I will say that I feel Mickey Arison is going to give him that opportunity to walk away when he wants to. But nonetheless, Pat Riley at the age of 81 is going to continue to call the shots for this Miami Heat organization. Will Riles be able to do enough over the summer to get the Heat in the top six and make them legit contenders in the Eastern Conference once again? Only time will tell. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, you know what to do, folks. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram, where you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks. My name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.